and welcome to Golden Droplets episode number 34. My name is Ricardo Valls. I am the principal and founder of Value Consultant, and in today's episode I will be talking about erosional level and how we can estimate the position of the erosional level in our deposit by using a combination of geochemical data and digital elevation model. So, once again, welcome to Golden Droplets episode number 34. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about a very interesting technique that is common knowledge in the former Soviet Union. When I was a student at NGRI in Russia, it was part of the curriculum. It's a mystery to me why this technique is not known or taught here in the West, and it's about a possible way of estimating the position of the erosional level with respect to your deposit. And anybody that would like to work with this data, you can come here. This is in Mendeley data. You can download this Excel table. It consists of original raw data, then all the material was converted to ppbs, so it will be one unit, and it contains also UTMs and data from the elevation. Now let's talk about the original way they taught me at the university about this method of erosional level. The basis of this method is that anytime a deposit forms, and we are talking here mostly of magmatic hydrothermal deposits, but it also applies to metasomatic deposit, metamorphic deposit, where there is some circulation and redistribution of the elements in the ore body. So the theory goes that every time a deposit is formed, there will always be a group of elements that will tend to form on top of the deposit. Those are called supraelements. An example of those are mercury, barium, silver, zinc, etc. There will always be a group of elements that will tend to form below the deposit. These are called infraelements, and examples are cobalt, nickel, chrome, and others. So, if you have a coefficient that divides the supraelements by the infraelements, and that coefficient gives you a value larger than 1, that means that the erosional level has not touched yet your deposit. If on the contrary, this coefficient gives you a very low value or negative value, that means that the erosional level is down here, so the deposit has been eroded already. This is why I think this is the technique that is so important. You may have the most beautiful gold anomaly in your target, and it may be a residual anomaly. The ore body has been already eroded. Even as an indication, I will always recommend to do this type of studies to try to determine the position of the erosional level. Of course, this is not written in stone. You have cases where, and this is very frequent, when you have multi-pulse granitoid bodies. So the first pulse came here, and then you have a second pulse that came here. So the supra elements of this second pulse could overlap the infra elements of the first group. Again, it's not a panacea, but it gives you a good indication. The way we do this study is very simple. We select a group of elements that are supra, and there are ways to do this, and it's based on the migration capability of the elements. But we know for many years of being doing this that elements like mercury, barium, iode, silver, zinc, they are very mobile. They have the capability of going far, far away from the deposits. So they always tend to be supra elements. So we take the actual three elements. You can take two, you can get five, it doesn't matter. I'm taking here three. In this case, I select barium, iode, and zinc, and infra, cobalt, nickel, and chrome. And we have our normal values. So we start by determining the average and the standard deviation of each of these elements. And then we create a column here where we standardize all this data. And this is very important. You need to standardize because the actual value of the element may vary a lot. Okay, so when you standardize, you eliminate that problem. And the formula for standardize is standardize the element by the mean and the standard deviation. Once you have all your values standardized, then you determine the erosional level. And the erosional level is the sum of all the supra divided by the sum of all the infra. And I added a formula for the integral part. I only interested in the first digit. I'm not interested in the decimals. So this way I get this series of values. Values like this, 0, -2, means that the erosional level is down here. Values like 5, 9 means that the erosional level is up here. So it's very simple. And then using Surfer, I determine this is my digital elevation model. And these are the areas that, according to the geochemistry, I do have erosion in my target. So if I have an anomaly, it doesn't matter how important, how big it is here, and I have an anomaly that may be even less intense, but here I will test this one first because this one has the possibility of being eroded. Now, with time, I understood that there is another factor that is very important in erosion, and is the elevation, that is not considered in this purely geochemical formula. So I modified this original thing by just adding the elevation as a new factor. I also did the same thing. I standardized it, and then when I apply the modified, the erosional level, I have the same formula, but I multiply it by the elevation, like a modified coefficient. And when I look at the map, I get this map, which is a combination of elevation and the chemistry. I also tested the possibility of showing the normal data, the standardized data for both methods, and as you can see, the results are pretty the same. So I say, well, we don't need the extra step of standardizing the thing. We can work directly with the data. But then I wanted to do one last step, which was basically to combine the effect of the erosional level A, the chemical way, with the chemical and elevation, both together. And that is what I did in my next and last slide, where I created an extra column, which is the absolute value of the sum of the two types of erosional levels. And this is what we get, which is a much real scenario. You have here areas that are related not only to the chemistry, but also to the elevation. And the fact that you have areas like this one here that has elevation and no erosion is a proof that combination of the chemistry plus the elevation. One interesting fact here is that in this particular case, it was extreme sediments, and there was a geochemical anomaly up here. What in this case that probably meant, and we tested, is that this gold that we see here came eroded from this mountain here, this high elevation. So this target here, well, it should be studied because we don't know. We cannot determine how deep is the whole erosion. We never can tell if the erosion came down to here. We only can tell that, this is less eroded than this part here. So again, you have an anomaly that is here, even if it is weaker than one that is here, you test this one first. And just to finish a point, this method works better with rocks. It works more or less with soil sampling. I always use it because it gives me an extra level of information. I say it's not written in stone, but it's good to know. And I almost never use it for stream sediments. Why? Because stream sediments, as you know, is not only a chemical anomaly, it's a chemomechanical anomaly that has been eroded from some part. But if you take that into consideration, that if you get an anomaly here, an erosional anomaly here, doesn't mean that it's there, it came up from river. Well, you can also use this method with stream sediments, just to give you an idea of the possibility of this area has been or not eroded. Again, it's a very useful and very simple way to categorize your anomalies and to decide which one you will gonna test first. And the method is very simple. You select the supra elements, the infra elements, you standardize them, you do the sum of all the supra divided by the sum of all the infra and multiply by the standardized value of the elevation, and you will get this map here that will help you in the interpretation of your geochemical data. That is all. As I mentioned, you can find the original file right here on Mendeley data. That's the link. You can go to this DOI and download this file and test it with your own data later on. Thank you for your attention, and I'm looking forward to meet you again on Golden Droplets episode number 35. Have a great day.
I think these videos are brilliant, and I'm sure you will like them too. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell.